Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining me here on the African Diaspora News channel, where you can find me Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Again, Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And of course, you can find me on my own channel, Sunday through Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Sunday through Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. See, I have to talk with my hands so I can remember things. But nevertheless, we are going to spend some time talking about a sister going off about illegal immigrants being protected while blacks are being neglected. And we are going to be focusing on Houston, right? Because that's where the story comes from. When I saw this video, I said, you know what? About time. We are really starting to wake up, and we are starting to be very vocal about the neglect and the disrespect that these politicians and a whole host of other people have for us. So we're going to get into all of that. And of course, while we're waiting for more people to trickle on in, just want to give you a quick reminder that I will be in Columbus, Ohio, along with that of Brother Phil, Sister Vicky, and Sister Emma, representing African Diaspora News Channel, as it will be our second year going to have a great conversation with you all. We're going to be doing questions and answers and just, having a great conversation like we do on here, right? But in person. But in order for you to do that, you need to go to ohioblackexpo.com, ohioblackexpo.com, to get those tickets so that we can see you there. Again, Columbus, Ohio, May 23rd. Cannot wait to meet each and every one of you as we did last time, right? It was so much fun. And of course, we have an app, African Diaspora News Channel app, that you can get from your Google, your Apple Play Store, that is for us, by us, and everything in between. As you know, we own less than 3% of the media, and it is important for us to get our media game up, right? We all have to invest in Black media, and this app is a great way to do that. I know, we have Netflix, Hulu, and all the other apps that we just don't have time enough to watch. When I say we, I mean me, right? But I take pride in knowing that I have a Black app. I have two. I have the Nation of Islam, and I have African Diaspora News Channel. So again, please go to your Google, your Apple Play Store to get that, because we cannot complain about our representation or the narratives that are made about us if we do not invest in our very own media that is going to tell the story from our point of view and give us all the information and knowledge, well, not all, but some that we need. So please and thank you in advance. Just gonna say hello to everybody up front, and then I'll get into it. Albert, what's going on with you? Mike, nice to see you all. Sister Shirley, JJ, all my triple OGs in the building. Hope y'all are doing well. King Noble, Doug, what's going on with you? All right, so let's go ahead and get into it for the sake of time. What had happened was, not too long ago here in Houston, let me see where, I got a bunch of stuff up here. Here in Houston, Houston faced a crisis. And Abbott, the governor, threatened the loss of 110, some say $114 million after Houston Police Department and ICE policy changed. Now, what had happened was, more specifically, is that Texas Governor Greg Abbott threatened to withhold approximately $114 million in public safety grants from Houston in April 2026, so this year, because the city passed an ordinance limiting local police cooperation with federal immigration authorities, so ICE, right? Now, Abbott argued that the policy violated state laws requiring cooperation with ICE, while Houston officials initially sought to protect community trust and limit the detention of individuals with only administrative warrants. Now, the key details say that the Houston City Council passed an ordinance preventing police from extending traffic stops or detaining individuals solely based on ICE administrative warrants. So basically, they're saying, well, police department, y'all got other stuff to do. You don't have to detain these people right now. We're thinking about people who are here illegally. Greg Abbott said, oh, no, I don't think so. Okay. And if y'all want to do that, then I'm going to keep this $114 million from y'all. Okay. Now it goes on to say, Governor Abbott claimed that this action violated Texas Senate Bill 4, which forbids sanctuary cities, which Houston is not, formally anyway, now policies, and requires local compliance with federal immigration enforcement. The threat The governor office rather threatened to terminate 114 million in state public safety grants aimed at the police and fire budgets unless the ordinance was repealed. Because again, the city council, they was like, okay, we're going to pass it. And Greg Abbott was like, oh, okay, we'll see about that. So the resolution, in response to the threat of losing the funding and a state investigation, the Houston City Council voted on April 22nd, which was yesterday, okay, to amend the ordinance to restore some cooperation with ICE. I bet you did, okay, ensuring the state funds would not be cut. Because at first they was, trying to fight back, and people were like, don't give in. Don't allow Greg Abbott, the governor, right, to bully you and all this other stuff. But then the mayor, Whitmire, was like, that's a lot of Skrilla, okay? So the dispute arose just before the 2026 FIFA World Cup because it's coming to Houston, right? With Mayor John Whitmire describing the funding threat as a crisis situation for city resources. So basically, the mayor was like, listen, y'all, I was with y'all, okay? I was with y'all until the governor said that he's going to withhold $114 million from public safety, right? So we going to go and have to acquiesce to whatever it is he wants. Because again, Greg Abbott is like, we're not a sanctuary state, city, none of that. Why are y'all doing this, okay? ICE is here. It's serving a function to make sure people who are here illegally, they're not here illegally, but Houston is telling the police department, don't cooperate, okay? If you got a warrant for somebody who, due to ICE or whatever it is, you just go find something else to do, right? Go find a black person or something. I'm going to get into that in just a second. Not that that's funny, but here is the video of the sister. This is right before the vote, okay, that took place yesterday. This sister was not having it. Here we go.
It's so important. These people broke state and federal law by coming into our country illegally. They have to follow a law. When driving while black, where's the ordinance for us? We never had that before. What about all the Hispanics who voted highly for Trump? What about them in Briones district? Adrian Garcia, do they agree with this ordinance? No. Everybody have to follow the constitutional law of American citizen. It was not for illegals. And Salinas, I met with you at your office and I told you, do not push your agenda. And what did you do? You ain't been in that seat 6 months and you on here pushing the agenda. We got more serious issues to deal with in this country, in this city, than for illegal immigrants. Follow state law. Become legal citizens the right way. Go home and come back. They don't allow that in Mexico. They wouldn't allow this in China, and they wouldn't allow this in Japan. It's not right. Don't spend my time up. Now they could be disrespectful, and I beat mine for my time. But tell me anything I said ain't true. Legal citizens come here and get their citizenship the right way. They don't break state and federal law.
Ma'am.
We have a border for a reason.
Please talk to us and yield to Councilman Kelly.
Okay, Salinas.
Ma'am, I'm going to request that you not personally attack members of this council.
I didn't attack her. I said I spoke to her at her office, at her campaign headquarters. I did not attack her. So don't put words in my mouth.
Ma'am.
Okay, so that was Sister Cher. That is her name, Cher Dawson. She showed up to that particular hearing right before the vote to basically say, hey, wait a minute now, what about us as Black folks? Where's our ordinance and things, right? So there's a couple things. She was accused of attacking. I'm going to get into her in a minute. Councilwoman Salinas, right? The white woman says, oh, you can't personally attack her. She's like, I wasn't attacking her. I was, addressing her, but I wasn't attacking her. And then you heard all the people in the back, right? They're being disrespectful. Like when you go to city council, you have a time to speak. It's your time. You can say for the most part what you want, right? You can't threaten and things like that. But the people who were there, and I guess we could probably assume who it was, they were pushing back. And then she says, look at that. They're being disrespectful. And they're like basically, and so, yeah, we are type thing. But then she gets admonished, to pointing out the obvious. Like y'all are, essentially want to die on the hill of protecting illegal immigrants, but what about the city or the citizens? What about the residents who are legally here? Like, what protections do we get? And she says, you're negating the will of people, like even Hispanics, she said, who voted for Trump. Now, I'm imagining, like she's saying, if they voted for Trump, even they're like, okay, yeah, this illegal immigration is out of hand, as it is in most blue cities, right? Or even blue states is out of hand. So she's like, y'all are not listening to everybody else. But this is the thing I noticed too, especially with us as Black folks. When we start to do stuff like that, like we start to speak out, like your Jessica Jacksons and your Sister Danny C's and your Zoe's and all of them, and, Chicago Flips Red, then they become the problem, right? They get off of the plantation per se. They're not on the talking points. And so you're the problem because you're not going along with it anymore. Right. And so they try to guilt you into, oh, well, that's not right. It's wrong. All that other stuff. They're just here to try to work and make a living. It's like, what you think we trying to do? What you think the citizens are trying to do? Like, why do we have to push down our wishes and things like that for people who are here illegally? Right. That's the guilt trip. So we're starting to see a lot of people come outside of being guilt trip. Like, you know what? If I got to get ridiculed for standing up here and saying, I don't like this, y'all should vote in favor of what's good for the residents of Houston and not illegal immigrants, right? If I got to take the ridicule, then so be it. I'd imagine that's what Sister Cher was thinking when she got up there. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of intrepidation, like, ooh, if I get up there and I say what I want to say, people are going to be mad. The immigrant community and the city council and everybody's going to be mad. But you know what? I'm tired, right? So, and the other thing is, again, she's right for what she's saying. So I co-sign that. Now I want to get into this Selena's person that she was addressing. And let's put her up here. Because I was like, well, what's her deal? Now, that's council member Alejandra Salinas, okay? Now, it says Alejandra is a third-generation Texan and nationally recognized attorney who is proud to call Houston home. Elected in December 2025, so she replaced that city councilwoman Letitia Plummer, who I think she's trying to be a judge now. She's going to replace Lena Hidalgo. So that's what she had to vacate the seat to do it. So she was Black, by the way. Okay. Now she is the first openly LGBTQ plus Latina ever elected to Houston City Council and the first Latina elected citywide in nearly 30 years. She is also the youngest member of the city council. Born and raised in South Texas, Alejandra grew up in a family shaped by hard work, perseverance, and service to others. Her grandfather worked in the cotton fields before becoming a U.S. Air Force colonel, and her great-grandfather came to the U.S. in search of an opportunity and built a life as a successful businessman and community leader, which probably means he came here illegally. So now we're getting somewhere, because I was curious about what she said. She says, Selena's, I talked to you personally, and you ain't been in the seat 6 months, and you said that basically you wouldn't be on this agenda stuff, right? But here you are going with the agenda of voting to not have the Houston Police Department help with ICE to get people who are here illegally out of here. And she says you're backtracking on what you told me. And she was sitting up there, surprised that the sister brought that to her remembrance. Now also goes on. This is a snippets of her about that I saw on her page. As a high school student, Alejandra organized a walkout and helped create a campus-wide forum for students to speak about federal immigration legislation that would affect families in her community. And it's like, really? All this was in her about, right? You could have found this information out. And so that took me, 5 minutes or so to kind of look into her. So the point that I'm making with that is, we got to start doing our research, because the sister said, hey, I went and talked to you and you said before you got in, you wasn't going to be on this. And then you got in and you're on it. But a Google search would have told everybody if we going to vote for her or whatever. Yeah, she's already about that life. She was doing that in high school, right? She walked out of class pro immigration, and it's not regular immigration, right? Like the sister said, go back and come back in the right way. There are pathways to citizenship here in America, but coming over here illegally, that's not it. So we already know that Alejandra wasn't about championing legal immigration. She's walking out of class in high school for illegal immigration. And what does she do? She gets in the office and she says, oh, there's no stopping me now. I'm going to make sure my folks, because something tell me her granddaddy or great granddaddy didn't come in here legally, right? They like to say, oh, he came up over here and then did all these things and he's a businessman. Okay, great. But how did he come over here? Because you're kind of leaving that part off. Did he come over here legally or illegally? Some tells me it's illegal, but they get in these positions and that's the stuff that they do. Okay, we just got to be cognizant of that, right? 6 months ago, she was talking a different story. And now that she in there, she like, oh, it's going to take the governor, okay, to threaten to keep $114 million away from the city's safety net, police and fire. They're willing to risk. If you live in Houston, your house catches on fire, they're willing to risk that. Oh, well, maybe we just don't got the resources to go help everybody because we want to protect illegal immigrants. Or if you need to call the police, we're willing to forego $114 million budget to protect illegal immigrants. So if you need the police and they say, well, hey, we ain't got the resources to help you, they were okay with that. The governor, and I don't like everything that the governor does, but I agree with that 100%. The governor had to twist their arm and make the mayor say, hey, I don't know what y'all talking about, right? But we got to go along with it, because originally he was for not having ICE help, the police department and all that other stuff. Okay. So I looked to see, well, what's going on in Houston in regards to Black people. Let's see. Let's go here. Now, this was from 2022. It says report finds racial disparities among Houstonians pulled over for non-moving traffic violations. It says the report found that Houston's Black drivers accounted for nearly half of those pulled over for non-moving traffic violations, despite the fact that about 23% of Houston's population is Black. Now, these are some snippets from the article. And it says the report also found that Black drivers made up nearly 60% of the 2,733 arrests that occurred after these stops. Both Hispanic and white drivers accounted for about 19% of the arrests. So Black 60%, Hispanic and white 19%. Okay. Now, it also says in 2022, vehicle traffic violations in Houston amounted to over $19 million in fines and fees, according to the report. Now, when I look at a number like that, I'm like, well, damn, that's what, almost $10 million of that was paid by Black residents. If, you know what I'm saying, if almost half of them were pulled over. Now, this is non-traffic violations, so stuff like, let's say tags or, things like that. So Black folks paid a lot of money in 2022, but yet they're willing to forego $114 million before yesterday, right, to protect illegal immigrants. So and we know this already, right? But I just like to show that, yeah, Black folks are most affected by, these traffic stops. Okay. Now, another thing that I found, it says Black people in Houston are 22% of the population, 23%, depending on what report you believe. It says account for 63% of police use of force death, according to the Houston Chronicle. Data from the Houston Police Department's Transparency Hub, publicly accessible online database, reveals that Black residents are 22% of Houston's population, yet 72% of people who have had severely bodily injuries at the hands of police. It says Blacks make up 63% of Houston's residents who have died as a result of police use of force in 2020. So to the sister's point, how is it that y'all here on the city council, y'all are more concerned about protecting illegal immigrants and you have that going on with Black residents? She said there's no protection for Black residents and there is no ordinance at all. Now, mind you, they were talking about passing an ordinance to stop, them for basically harassing drivers for non-traffic violations and things like that. It never passed. They thought about it. It was cute in theory, but it never passed. But you know what passed? Is them not wanting the police department to help ICE with illegal immigrants. That passed. And that was the point of contention where Greg Abbott was like, if y'all don't undo this, you're not getting this money. So again, he had to twist their arm to do it, because even still, it was 5 people who was like, well, I'm going to vote no. I'm not going to change it. It was 12 who did. And again, it was undone, but no protections for Black folks. Now, let's talk about this a little bit more. Who votes for the Democratic Party the most? It's Black folks. It's not Hispanics, especially here in Houston, you know. And I would imagine that most Hispanics in Houston are legally here, but most of them that are here, the illegal immigrants rather, are probably more Hispanic. How do they vote? They vote like this, right? 49, 51, or whatever it is, 60 something, 30 something. That's how they vote when it comes to the Democrats. Black folks, 80 to 90 to almost 100%, depending on what it is. Okay. Barack Obama, 98% of the Black vote. Whatever it is, again, even Kamala, right? She got 92 Black women. I don't know, it's roughly 90% of the Black vote, give or take, something like that. Whatever it is, the Democrats get more of the Black vote. So we vote for that kind of stuff. So then you have, Miss Dawson, who has to stand up there and put it all on the line and say, enough. What about us? And then the people in the peanut gallery, that's what I like to call it, like, they mad that she don't like it. They're mad that she does not like that they are championing illegal immigration over helping people that look like her. They don't like that. See, if she was one of these, sellouts, these bootlicks and these shills that got up there and said, well, you know what? I'm following behind ICE. I'm in the back alleys. That's Maxine Waters, right? I'm making sure ICE is or your Jasmine Crockett, right? Who didn't win her bid to become the senator of Texas, who says, they could be deporting a Robert Garcia. We need to make sure, and make all these databases so they could tell on ICE, right? That's what they want to get up there and talk about this fictitious Black and brown unity that does not exist. Should it exist? Yes, it should exist. Now, mind you, also what I found out about Miss Salinas, right, the city councilwoman, to me is no surprise, but she's a part of LULAC. She's even trying to get funding to restore a historical LULAC building here in Houston. See, that's the kind of stuff she's doing. And you know what LULAC said about the brown and Black? They weren't interested in anything Black at all. This is a verified quote from their leadership that we are not interested in aligning with the Negro. Let them go fight their own battles, right? And all their other leadership, they said, we know that the Negro is not getting everything that we get, but so what? Who cares, right? We don't think that they deserve everything we get. Why? Because we white. So stuff like that. So unless a Black Democrat shield is getting up there championing illegal immigration and the Black and the brown, they don't want to hear that. They ain't trying to hear that sister sound. We going to be talking about us from now on, right? The Democrats' most loyal group of people who get absolutely nothing specifically for us, but we got to go and stand in front of city councils like Jessica Jackson's and all of them and be very demonstrative about, I don't like this. First of all, it's not that I don't like something that's legal, but see, they were trying to make that legal. I don't like the illegal activity that you all are championing, and you're mad at me because I don't like it. And especially in places like Chicago, I got to pay, depending on where you live, an uptick of 133% property taxes that they say is not due to illegal immigration, but quit playing with us. We know that it is. We think anyway. They ain't gonna never tell us the truth. But you don't like it, and they get mad that you don't like it. Well, before I jump into the comment section, I just want to go over a couple more, just small little snippet of examples of what happens when they get a stronghold. When I say they, the first and second and the third generation, Americans, right? Because their family came over here from somewhere else. This is the kind of stuff that they champion. We always gonna talk about homegirl, okay? That's Representative Jayapal. She was talking about she wants to get a reparations for illegal immigrants, right? Once they get the gavel back, they're going to get the reparations and they're going to punish ICE for the things that they've done for traumatizing, these illegal immigrants. That's what she wants to do, right? Now, she got over here in year 2000. She's an Indian American. Year 2000, and she gets into, I think she's been there since 2019, in the Congress, and that's just out of her mouth. She didn't bite her tongue. It wasn't esoteric. It wasn't, well, maybe she meant this or no. Y'all seen the video. I've showed it a million times. Y'all heard her and what she had to say. We got to make sure, we got to figure out a way to fund this, okay? Fund reparations for illegal immigrants. That's the kind of stuff they do. They don't care about you, but just know this. She's a Democrat. She benefits off of what? Black votes. Because again, we know that Black voters vote the most for the Democratic Party. So she benefits off of Black votes. And then she gets herself in Congress and sits down and says that I want to champion reparations for illegal immigrants. And you know what? Black folks will show up in November during the midterms, right? And they will help put her back in office. Maybe not caring that she's going to get reparations, or she's going to try to anyway, right? For illegal immigrants, or they just don't know because they ain't tuned in, right? Because we're often told what? Vote blue no matter who. If it's got a D by its name, you just mark it and check it off. They won't even know. A lot of people won't even know that she sat herself there looking everywhere and wanted to champion reparations for ICE, okay? Where else? Here go Mia Bonta. Now, she is Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican is American, but her other side of her people come from Ghana, if I'm not mistaken, right? So she's got a lot going on there. But this bill she proposes, Assembly Bill 2600, proposed by Assembly member Mia Bonta, would expand access to publicly funded attorneys for individuals facing immigration proceedings in California. So basically what she's saying is, I want to take your money, Californians, okay, that you pay into your taxes. I want to take some of that, and I want to pay for illegal immigrants to get legal help. Yeah, that's what I'm proposing. See, again, they get into positions of power and they say, well, let me do something for my people or whatever it is. I know there's, other people in my district, my constituents that are citizens, and I should really be trying to help them, but they ain't going to check me. Who going to check me? They'll show up. They'll show up and they'll vote for me again because they're checked out. They don't do research. Like I said, if they would have researched Councilwoman Selena's background, they would have said, oh, she even walks out of class in high school to protect illegal immigrants. So what do you think she's going to do when she gets some power? Right? So that's the stuff they do. And then this is, our most famous homegirl.
Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
Well, why not? Why wouldn't you do something that just only benefits Black people when y'all done, you and Biden have done things to benefit everybody else? We saw y'all. I showed it to y'all yesterday. She was standing up there with Joe Biden as they were signing the Asian hate crime bill. So you do stuff for everybody else. So why wouldn't you do it for us? Right? She says she's a Black woman. She runs around even to this moment. I'm a Black woman, Black woman, Black woman, Black woman, whatever. I don't care if you're a purple woman. You really could be polka dot for all I care. But you said that you're a Black woman. Why don't you do anything? And why wouldn't you do anything specifically for Black people? Right? Her mama, I think she came over here when she was 19. Her daddy, Jamaican, came over here, was over here, but nevertheless, she's first generation, right? So they get into office and they say, oh, How do we help everybody else? Right? We get all my people, all the people, come over, come over, come over. We're gonna, when she was with Biden, they opened the border doors and let everybody in. Come on over. Never talked about anything for Black folks. I don't think they ever talked about reparations during the Biden administration. If they did, it was now. You better learn how to get along with Hispanics, or whatever. But they didn't talk about nothing specifically for us. We watched everybody else get something. And y'all heard, I played it, and I'll play it again in the future. Joe Biden, when he was president-elect, he stood up there and says, my African Americans, or African American. I think that was Trump. My African, but African Americans, you've had my back, and I'm going to have yours. And that was the last time I think he mentioned us. Anything specifically, right? Well, he was saying that because he couldn't have got in there without us. He got into office because of Black folks. I remember when he went to South Carolina, his campaign wasn't doing well at all. And then he got the blessing, if you will, from Representative James Clyburn, who again is running. Got the blessing, and because South Carolina is said to be like, one of the blackest, most politically active places in America. So if you can make it in South Carolina politically, you can make it anywhere. But before that, he didn't even know if he would be successful. It was Black folks who did that. And we saw what they did for everybody else. So what we have to start doing as Black folks is really get engaged, pay attention, right? You see somebody's pictures all around town, right? You see their campaign flyers and stuff. Say, I wonder what they're about. Do a Google search, right? Because more than likely, most of the time, those people have been involved politically already or somewhere, so you can find things out about them. Just go see what they're up to. And like that sister said, I came and talked to you, and you basically lied in my face. Said you wasn't going to be about the foolishness. But, if the sister would have just went a little bit further and said, let me see what this, what she talking about, she would have found that. I'm assuming she would have, right? And now the thing is, she'll probably be in office for a very long time because her people, they vote for that. They see that their people are active and they bringing home the bacon for us. We're going to keep them up in there, right? California, they're looking at, it was said that they still might, have a Republican governor, maybe. But a Hispanic or Latino, he got in there, Javier Becerra. He's been in politics. He worked for the Obama administration, stuff like that. But he got in there, and they say he's soaring in the polls. And that if he gets in, he'll be the first Mexican governor or something like that since the 1800s or whatever. What do you think he's going to get in there and do? He gonna get in there and be all about his people. How you think he gonna get in there? I know it's less than 6% of Black people in California, but it'll be probably the majority of Black folks voting for that. So we got to stop doing this to ourselves. I get sad when I see people like Sister Cher have to stand up at these city council meetings and say, "Hey, what about us? Why do you guys keep neglecting us? You're neglecting us for illegal activity. What about us?" Or, your Sister Jessica Jackson and Danny C., who is running to be the mayor. And I'm going to get into that in the future. She's running to be the mayor of Chicago, Sister Danny C. Right? I cannot wait till we don't have to see them, leaving it all on the floor at the city council meeting due to the benign neglect, especially of the Democratic Party. That will be a great day, and that's going to happen when we become more aware and we stop being, more apathetic. But I will say this too, as I was researching, it says that undocumented people here in Houston, this is what it says, right? They contribute about $9.5 billion into the economy here. So when I hear that kind of stuff, I said, okay, it's making sense. They put a lot of money into the economy. So that's, in a sense, I would imagine why they fight for them to be here. But we also put a lot of money into the economy. Just if thinking about nationwide, almost $2 trillion spending power, but we give most of that away. Hispanics don't give most of that away. They don't give as much of it away as we do. So we have to stop the bleeding. We have to stop giving to everybody but ourselves. Again, when we start buying into the things that we need, politics as well, then the politicians will say, hey, black folks, black Americans, they're a force to be reckoned with. And we got to come to the table and really legislate for them too. Otherwise, they're going to see us out of office, our most loyal group of voters. So anyway, let me see what y'all got to say. Go all the way back to the top, and thank you for bearing with me here. This is our Friday. When I say our, me, mine. Okay, where did I leave off? Big Rich, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Natasha, how you doing? Says New York City is a sanctuary city. Yeah, a lot of them are. Chicago as a sanctuary city, I think, has been that way since 1983 or something like that. So yeah, basically a sanctuary city is that we will not work with ICE, and that's what Greg Abbott was saying. Hey, wait a minute now, y'all ain't no sanctuary nothing. Sanctuary cities are like, we're not helping immigration enforcement at all. We're not turning people in a sense to kind of protect them. You know what I mean? Sanctuary city means, hey, you come here, we'll help you in any way we can, whether it's shelter, programs, whatever it is. So that's what it means to be a sanctuary city. We protect illegal immigration. But again, Abbott was like, nah, here we don't. Not what? Wheelchair. Yeah, Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair. I know they call him another name, but I won't use that here. Helio, what's going on with you? Says it's not just that African Americans, whites aren't employed because of race and immigration. European countries are facing the same issue. That is true. But I can only really, I can speak to other things, but I really speak more to Black Americans. But that's absolutely true. And I will say this too, in the comment sections of where these videos was posted of the sister having her say at the meeting, I saw people from all walks of life saying, I agree with you. You're 100% right. Whether they were white, Latino, Asian, Black, a lot of people agree with her, and it does. Illegal immigration, yeah, it hurts everybody, but I would imagine it hurts us the most. And even if it didn't hurt us the most, we vote, the Republicans aren't for illegal immigration. It's the Democrats. So we vote for the Democrats the most. Well, shouldn't we be considered at just as much? Right? When it comes to ordinances and policies and all, shouldn't we have some consideration, like the sister said, the ordinance to protect Black folks from, let's say, stop and frisk and all that kind of stuff that hasn't been passed. Nobody even cared about it, but they passed this illegal immigration thing just like that. Where they have to be, they told you better undo it or you ain't getting the shmoney, right? Albie Chill says Professor Abbott got it right. You're Greg Abbott, the governor. Tito, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Edward, what's going on? Grand rising to you as well. Cloudless, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Who else? JJ says Representative Carla Cunningham from North Carolina stood up for ICE and the Dems made sure she lost her seat. Yeah, she should. I don't know if she's a sister. I'm not familiar with her, but anybody who is fighting more for illegal immigration than they are their own residents or citizens, yeah, you need to go. As a sister said, there's a lot of places you can't go and do that. You can't go to Mexico and do what they're doing here. So if you want to fight for people in a different country, maybe you should go and become a citizen over there, get into their politics and fight for them over there. But why are you doing it here? As I said, you got homeless people sleeping on the streets and all kind of stuff, citizens, but yet they stand up there and they want to fight for this. I didn't know. Like, I think two things could be true or exist at the same time. We should be compassionate, right? I don't and did not like the way ICE was going about some things, the way they were roughhousing people. They do it to us. I don't want to participate in whataboutisms and things like that. I don't think it's cool when they do it to anybody. But I think at the same time, we should say, hey, I'm not going to feel guilty about illegal immigration not being a thing, especially when people in my community are being neglected because of it. I feel bad for how they're handled, but I also feel bad for how we're neglected. But they don't want you to feel that way. They want you to feel one way and not the other. So yeah, she should have lost her seat. As Sister Shirley says, I'm clapping for her. Yeah, that sister, you could tell she's fed up. Like she said, I tried to have conversations with the lady and she lied to me, essentially. Here she is looking, she acting like, well, what? Did I say that? Yeah, liar. You did say that. You know you said it. Because I doubt very seriously that sister walked in wherever you were. You said, well, I'm going to be champion illegal immigration. I don't care what you think. I doubt that was the conversation you had with her, right? So yeah. Extreme X, how you doing? Says, give them JD Vance for the next 4 years to show them we're not BS. Well, I don't know about JD Vance. I mean, again, the Republicans aren't that much better. Iran, I guess JD Vance was supposed to go over there for their conference or whatever to try to figure out what was going on. And they said, don't send him. Okay. Don't send JD Vance over here for nothing. So the last time I saw they had postponed the meeting. They're trying to get to an agreement, a ceasefire or something. And it was like, yeah, don't send JD Vance over here at all. So I don't know if JD Vance would be, you know. Mike says they love to try and us. Yeah, they do. You know, they mad at the sister for, you know, just speaking her piece. Vicky, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see him skip down just a tiny bit. Cloud that says, yeah, we're going to have to let them Republicans stay in office because these bootlicking Democrats rather, aren't going to act right. No, they, like when I think about California, I'm like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap if they let Democrats continue to have a stronghold there. The Democrats are not, especially in California, they're not biting their tongue about what their agenda is. It's illegal immigration. Even the California Legislative Black Caucus, which Mia Bonta is a part of the California, this lady here that I just showed y'all. She's a part of the California Legislative Black Caucus, believe it or not. I guess, you know, Puerto Rican and Ghanaian blood or lineage, whatever it is. So she's in the California Legislative Black Caucus. And she was also there when they sabotaged reparations for Black Californian descendants of slavery. She was there. And she went on this listening tour after, you know, Black Californians got mad. She went on this listening tour with some of the other members of the California Legislative Black Caucus. Okay, we're here. We're here to hear what you have to say. We understand that you're disappointed that, you know, we sabotage reparations for Big Daddy Gavin Newsom, but we're here to listen. What? Go ahead, let it all out. She better be happy I wasn't in that meeting. But nevertheless, we got a Crown Act, right? They got an apology out of it. They said, we're sorry for, you know, our role in slavery. And so, yeah. In case you didn't know, she's a part of the California Legislative Black Caucus. Sister Sunlight, how you doing? Hope that you're doing well. Helios, he says, I put up flyers for $2 an hour and never hired. They employ immigrants for more. So price isn't the problem, like how they employ Chinese for manufacturing. I mean, I don't know if, you know, what that was about, them paying them more, whatever it is. And to me, too, who was doing the hiring? Because I know, especially in places like California, they do a lot of gatekeeping. A lot. Nevada, a lot of gatekeeping. If they people sitting up at the front of the, you know, the office or answering the phones or whatever it is, or doing the hiring, you can good luck. I know so many people who are having to jump through hoops of fire to get things done, whether it's, you know, permits to build on their land or whatever it is. Like I said, I know somebody who has 33 acres, Black, okay? 33 acres there in California, just, you know, land. He's trying to start building. And they keep saying, oh, you got to do this. Oh, no, not that. No, you got to do this. Now you got to do that. Now it's just a lot. And when I asked him, I said, do tell, who is it that's sending you through all these mazes and hoops of fire? He said, it's a Latina lady. Now, I bet you her people don't have to go through all that. Guarantee you. Bet you $1 through a donut. Her people ain't going through all that. I know people who are kids, right? Trying to get jobs, just part-time jobs. No luck at all. They say it's Hispanics that's doing the hiring, or say, no, we're not hiring. But all they people commandeering, you know, whatever it is. So they do a lot of gatekeeping. So a lot of times they're like, we're going to keep this money going into our community, right? That's the group economics. All money in and hell, all money out. Even if it ain't really they, you know, business like a McDonald's or something, we're going to make sure our people get it because the money going to come back. See, they understand group economics. Give them the jobs, even if it does pay more. We know that money is coming back into our community. that could have something to do with it, to be honest with you. So, but I don't know for sure. Sheila, how you doing? So just like the Latino cop calling all Black Americans the N-word. Yeah, the one in Houston. They got it. Houston, we have a problem. you know, but it's not just Houston. It's very, a lot of them, not all. Okay, I always tell y'all, I got a lot of Latino homies in California. That's where I'm from. Not all, but as a collective, yeah, they're very anti-Black. They do not like Black people. I tell y'all, and I worked at Frito-Lay in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Hell, I had them lie. They lied on me all the time. I told y'all about the story. One of them said I was kicking some boxes. I get called into the office behind kicking boxes, which I was not doing. And I said, why would I be doing that? Well, such and such said they saw you. I said, such and such is a damn lie. I had a lead man in the department I was in, Latino, named Carlos. He could not stand me. I tell you, he cannot stand me. He lied on me all the time, just blatant lies. When I say blatant, just blatantly lied. We would have our team meetings, and he'd sit up there and just point me out and lie. Like one time, I worked in the sanitation department. I wasn't a janitor, but I worked in the sanitation department. I had to come in early with another technician. It's 2:00 in the morning. So we get in there and we had to use acid. They didn't have no more acid. Now, think about the nature of acid. Just think about it. Are you going to go in and dress like this? Where's the acid? I mean, you have to spray the acid. Are you going to go in there like this? Hell no. You got suited and booted. Okay, we call it a green suit. Suited and booted is like a rubber suit. You have goggles, you have to, and a whole face shield, gloves all the way, like you covered. Do you know this? Got into the meeting and said, oh, now mind you, he wasn't even there. He wasn't coming till 4 hours later. He got in there and said, oh, well, Demetra, she didn't have her face mask on and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? This is the kicker. The kicker is we had ran out of acid. So how you somebody see me cleaning, spraying acid with no PPE, right? Protective gear on, and we didn't have acid. And guess what the other kicker was? The supervisor knew that. So the supervisor was in a meeting. I said, you heard what he said? I said, now what conversation did I have with you about the acid? He says that we didn't have any. I said, do we have any acid? He says, no. I said, so how was I caught with no protective gear on spraying acid if we don't have any? Supervisor's a white dude. He says, yeah. How is that possible, Carlos? Just stuff like that. That just one of many. I was there 13 years, worked under him 13. Well, not under him per se, but 13 years. And he just lied. It was just awful the way they lied. I'm gonna write a book one day, maybe. Anyway, let's see. Y'all don't get me telling stories because I could be here forever. Rebel Angel, what's going on with you? Says we need ICE in the hoods. Well, right now they talking about the National Guards in the hoods. I saw that they were talking about National Guards going to Washington again because I think maybe they had left or something. But for some reason, these inner cities, they're having the teen takeovers and all this kind of stuff. So I saw them on the news earlier talking about having the National Guards and enacting these curfews and things like that. That's a us problem. That's a conversation that we got to have too, about the things we allow go on in our communities with our children and, just certain things, right? Because I tell you all the time, my dad who passed away in December, my dad was about that life, okay? He from the old school. My daddy was 81 years old when he passed. So, he came up amongst men. When they heard some funky stuff was going on in the neighborhood, they was like, oh, for real? Where he at? Tell y'all another story. I remember my daddy, he had a machete. I could tell this stuff now, right? My daddy always had a machete as long as I can remember, a machete. One time somebody broke into the minister's car of Temple 27. Actually, Minister Khalid Muhammad, if y'all didn't know that, my dad was a second lieutenant to Minister Khalid Muhammad, the one everybody talk about all the time. He was a second lieutenant. I knew him. So somebody had broken into his car. My dad rode around the neighborhood in his van, and we were in the back, me and my siblings in the back, and he would aim his machete out the window when he stopped somebody. You know who broke into the minister's car last night? Nah, but when I find out, I'll let you know. See, that's the stuff my daddy was on. Like, he was like, we're not going to call the police talking about somebody. Nah, we'll deal with it ourselves. Now, I don't know if they ever found out who did it. I don't know. I'm just telling you, that's the kind of daddy I had. So what I'm saying is, I don't know if we necessarily need to ride around the hood with machetes. I wouldn't recommend it. But what I'm saying is, we don't need to call the police. We deal with this in-house. See, because we know who the problems are in our community. But right now, people scared, right? So I'm just saying, without the violence, and I have to say that here, we need the men to stand up again and say, oh, there's a problem. Where that? Right? And then we need these women who are the center of influence, right? The mother of civilization. We need for them to, and I say them, I mean us. It's collectively do a better job at parenting our children. You know your children out there wreaking havoc. You don't know where your children are at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or at night. Where are your children? There's a commercial back in the day. It's 10 o'clock at night. Where are you? Do you know where your kids are? The answer is right now, hell no, I don't know where they are. Because I'm too busy doing what I'm doing me. Anyway, I'm not trying to get started on that. I'll be here forever. Texas Barabbas, how you doing? Says, keep hoping and believing Democrats are going to give you reparations. Democrats are going to open the borders again and finish replacing you with Latino migrants. They already said they're going to do it. They are going to undo everything. That's what J. Paul said. When we get the gavel back, they're already telling us what they're not lying like that one chick was, right? They're telling us what they're going to do. Okay, let's see. Who else haven't I seen? Black Butterfly, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. What can I learn from you? Hey, I like that name. How you doing? Says illegals got your reparation. Democrats don't give a about you. You're right. They don't. See, that's the message we got to start spreading. Tune out the Roland Martins. Tune out the Joy Reeds and, all the Rickies and the and the DLs. Tune them out. Okay? Stop listening to them. Stop listening to your Al Sharptons and all them. Stop listening to them trying to guilt everybody. Oh, you guys, are they trying to tell black people? No, what are you telling black people? You're telling black people to continue to vote for more of nothing. Keep hope alive. Keep wishing and praying. Just get them in office. If you get them in office, then we got it. You ain't going to do. You can't get somebody in office and then demand it. How you going to make them do it? How you going to strong arm them? That's against the law. So how do you make them do something for you once they get in? You don't. See, that's the 3-card Molly, right? I know you think this is going to happen. The thing is here, but it's really over here. So you invest your money in this, sham of a game. That's what it is. But they don't want you to listen to people like us or people like y'all who are ringing the alarm. Now we got to continue to ring the alarm, continue to wake our people up and say, hey, you are voting for your own demise. You are doing that. You're helping people who potentially will get into the police force and say, I hate black people. And the next black person I see, I arrest, I'm going to stick it to them. That's what you're making it easy to do. See, we got to continue to have these conversations until more of our people are like, WIFBA. What's in it for Black Americans to do that? Then we keep talking, right? McQueen, how you doing? Says reparations for people that terrorize our country. That ain't gonna pass. I don't know, will it? I hope it don't, but it's kind of up to us at this point, in a sense, right? Big Rich says that this proves that they could have been gave us reparations, but they're too determined not to. Yeah, because they know what we're gonna do. How we gonna make them? We're cool with fish fries. Mad Dog, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Dana, what's going on? Says exactly. And if it wasn't for Black civil rights bill, women and other minorities wouldn't have any rights. The gays too. That's true. That was for us originally, but everybody else has, gotten a nice big old piece of the pie, and we are like, any left for me? No. Black Rose, how you doing? Says sanctuary cities laws provide resources and protect for illegals while hurting FBA. That is 1,000% right. Sheila says, and she spoke the truth out of her lying mouth. You talking about the representative? Yeah, the city councilwoman. And she, like, did I say that? Yeah, you said it. Edward, how you doing? Says, yeah, Kamala around here talking about the Edmund Pettis Edmund Pettis Bridge, like someone in her family was involved. Yeah, it's in her to see. Remember, I pointed that out the other day, how it's the same script. She's off cold with the Democrats, but she's on script. Like she's out there early, 2 years early, out there campaigning, right? So pay attention. Extreme X, how you doing? Says black people are gonna vote for Kamala anyway. Oh, you best believe that, man. If they, I don't gamble, but if they had something like that in Vegas, I don't know if they do. Are black people gonna vote for Kamala? Man, I'd empty my bank account on those odds. I'd be wealthy, I'm quite sure. Glister Rain, how you doing? Say real talk. Tito, did I say hi to you? If not, hello. Sergeant King, what's going on? She says 92% will still vote for, I ain't gonna call that lady that. Kamala. Yeah, they will. Maybe not 92. I think a lot of, you know what? Credit to the sisters, though. A lot of sisters are starting to wake up. Now, I don't know what that sister was on, but, it's refreshing to see. I mean, Chicago flips red. It's brothers, too, but it's the sisters out there leading the charge, right? So and they were Democrats before, I think, right? And then, so we're starting to see a lot of black women saying, oh, well, you got me messed up. So I'm glad to see it. Five Ring was going on and said it's a reason why they called what you say Latino something else. I'll say that. I gotta be nice on here, y'all. Jay McClinton was going on. She says ICE tactics are way over the top, but I don't believe in illegal immigration. No, I don't believe in illegal immigration. The name somewhere. Think of somewhere where you want to go. It's probably illegal for you to just show up there. I'm here. Okay, wait in line, fill out paper. You better point me to the nearest office where I can get my benefits. That was Kamala. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. Chandler was going on, says ICE detention centers are more like modern concentration camps. So no, well, what you think prisons are? Do you think it's the Holiday Inn? Is it the Waldorf Astoria? What do you think prisons are? And who do you think they're in there disproportionately? It's us. I tell you all the time. Okay. I used to work with inmates. I had to put that on hold because it was doing a lot to me. Like I would literally drive out to the prisons here in Texas, and it reminded me of a plantation, right? So it was very heartbreaking. I had to step away from that. But these stories are horrendous. Okay. I've never been to a concentration camp. I've never been in a prison or a jail. Thank God I visited people in jail and prison. But I don't know. I don't even know if it's a comparison or competition of what's worse. But how we having see the other thing too, and I think we're forgetting to mention here, is those concentration camps. Those people came here on their own. Okay, now there's some prisoners in prison because of stuff they did. Yeah, there's a lot that aren't there because of stuff they did. And there's people who are there for stuff that they did that don't deserve the treatment and the things that are going on with them now. I know a woman, her son went to prison, some minor. He went in and he was 300 some pounds. When he came out, he was 120, 140 pounds. Just not getting food. Guards did something you cannot imagine to him. The guards did this to him. He's a kid. I actually did a story on the African Diaspora News Channel about it. But y'all want us to feel something for the concentration camps. That's what y'all call them. For people who came here legally, but nothing for the people who are in prison. Everybody don't deserve to be in those type of prisons. Everybody, some people who did some things that not like murder and, other stuff. They're in there with horrible people having horrible things happen to them. Nobody really wants to have that conversation, but I'm supposed to stop and fall out over these so-called concentration camps of people who came over here on their own free will. Nah, get somebody else to do it, homie. It ain't gonna be me. Trent, what's going on with you? Thank you for that. He says, did you see Karen Bass smiling with Trump at the White House? She's so-called MAGA. When did this happen? Was it recently? No, I didn't see it. I saw not too long, was about a year or so ago when those fires took place. Trump went out there and said, you don't need to take forever to build these people's homes that burned down, and sounds like they still don't have any traction on that. Damon, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. So I see that I'm out of time, y'all. I'm out of but I think I'll get to the bottom. Sean, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Who else haven't I seen? Fire was going on. It says black people need to step their game up in order to get respect. I totally. Mad Dog says parents are not parents anymore. I say that all the time. I know people get mad when I say it, but this, I believe, is probably one of the worst generation of parents ever made, and they probably learned some of that from my generation. You know, we ain't gonna lie to kick it. Beverly, how you doing? Sister Sunlight says the question that shuts shields down is how do you hold politicians accountable? See what they tell you. Well, you know what? You just do. Rosemary, how you doing? Says black got reparations 2 or 3 times. Obama? Because that's what we were told was reparation. Obama's reparations. I hated that I even wasted the time to even read that comment. Eric, how you doing? Says we need to come together as one and boycott all businesses that aren't black power, respect power. Yes. Now let's not boycott those businesses, because as Dr. Claude Anderson said, we are very good at boycotting. Right? We boycott our own businesses. But as Nuri Muhammad says, let's do a boycott. Let's buy into our own businesses. See, because when we shift the focus from abstaining from them and we've shifted into, buying into our own, that's the game changer, right? So we have to be laser focused on that. So I agree with you. And be more cognizant of, where we give our money to. Yes, it's a sound like you better thank a union member. Courtney, how you doing? Says I'm proud anti-immigrant foundational Black American. All right now. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Like I said, I'm not about to be calling ICE. That to me, that's a bridge too far. I'm gonna let ICE do what it's gonna do. Everybody else want to call ICE. They say call them. I'm just not gonna do that. But I do not believe in illegal immigration. And I do not believe in putting things that are illegal above the citizens, because the citizens should matter first, right? So anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will see y'all next Tuesday on here and on my channel Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.